some good news and I've got some bad news. Leader Fan Radio Network, and KFAN.com. 2 minutes, 30 seconds past the hour, 3 o'clock Central Daylight Time. We welcome you back to a Friday Football Beast edition of the Bumper to Bumper program. Yes, the Beast goes year-round. Football season, as we know, never, ever ends, even on home opening day for your Major League Baseball team, the Minnesota Twins, on a really ideal Friday afternoon here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. My name is Dan Barreiro, the Sultan of Snark, sometimes referred to as Polly Dana, other times as Dantifa, and almost always as A-Hole in the afternoon. Guardsy's the producer of the broadcast. He's back in that chair, even though Blakemore had told me you weren't going to be back in that chair. That's another story for probably another day. Welcome back.
I'll pelf on that one.
Yeah, you gave a
full pelf. I think I screwed him up.
Okay,
I think.
Yeah, that may be true. We'll get to that in more detail a little bit later. I'm sure most of you have heard the good news. Power's been restored at Target Field, and I'm sure most of you know the bad news. Power has been restored at Target Field. I'll do it. It's cheap. It's obvious.
There's too many of them.
But there's so many of them, I got to start somewhere, and I'm not going to rise above most of them. I'll be the first to say. And by the way, I already know. I'm going to go ahead and give you a prediction on the tenor of coverage in the Star Tribune tomorrow, or even online as we speak. Do you know what it's going to be?
Just good to have baseball back.
That, and you know what? People got into the spirit of it. They said, yeah, we can do the jokes too if we want to, but that's kind of fun. What's the harm? No big deal. We're all in this together. We're going to enjoy ourselves through. Yeah, so the baseball starts a little bit late. That's something I'm always going to be able to remember. You know, when I tell my grandkid, if you are the grandpa, about Johnny, can I tell you what happened on opening day 2026? That this is going to be one of those moments that you look back on and say, I was there. Now, here's what's interesting. I was talking yesterday about the Wilt Chamberlain 100-point game.
Yes.
Which, by the way, Kobe Bryant fans don't even want to acknowledge.
I believe that.
As the record.
I'm taking a picture of our guy Pierre Nugent, by the way, doing fan interviews.
Is he?
In the crowd right now as part of Fox 9's coverage. So that's why I'm distracted.
Is he wearing a slicker?
Yeah, it looks like a pretty heavy jacket. Not a slicker necessarily. Okay. It looks like a nice Columbia jacket. He's got his Fox 9 Unreal hoodie on underneath.
Well,
Nuge doesn't love the bad weather.
No, well,
as a rule.
I don't think anybody does. But I mean, the kicker about 100 points in a game was, the joke was, I think the actual crowd in Hershey, Pennsylvania for that game was like 7,000.
Right.
But the joke is like 3 million people have claimed they were at that game, right? Because it's historic, right? The idea that an important, or I shouldn't say important events, but exciting sports events.
Historic events,
people like to pretend they were there whether they were or they're not. Whatever the actual crowd was, it grows exponentially. Will it be the opposite here? Is it actually fewer people than show up at Target Field who will actually admit that they were there for opening day? Might it work the opposite way? I'm not sure. Like I said, in 10 years, there'll be 3 million people said, that home opener 2026 where the power went out, I was there. I think it might actually be a smaller number of people at that point, because by then the POLEDs will have sold.
We think.
Oh, it'll be done. By then it'll be done by hook or by crook. There's no question about it. It's like in 10 years, I think it'll absolutely be done. And it will almost be like we talk about erasure all the time and canceling. No one will want to say their names anymore. Well, here's the question. Are there 2 POLED statues at Target Field?
Well, I think it's Carl and Eloise.
Oh, is it just together,
I think it's just the 2 of them, yeah.
Will that, when the team is sold, will that statue be allowed to stay? Or will that be removed as part of, no, that was the Dark Ages. Now, they won World Series, but the family didn't exactly pay off on it, so we can't ever even acknowledge that part of Minnesota Twins history.
I think you got to keep them up.
You do?
Yeah.
But they didn't win the World Series. They were the owners.
They were the owners. Yeah. I know. I think you got to keep them up, though.
You've always been a rank sentimentalist.
I'm probably to a fault.
Remember, he wanted to contract the team.
I do remember that.
Don't forget that.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that goes.
I might be in the minority. Maybe I'm too soft.
Well, it's not even really a matter of soft or hard. I'm just thinking somewhere down the road, when we get irrational about stuff like this, we say everything's got to go. Everything's got to be kind of erased. And I'm thinking at that point, all bets might be off. And I don't know how many people we're supposed to have for this ball game. Do we know what the crowd is going to be estimated to be? Now, Lavelle's going to join us earlier than usual, right? 3:30?
Yes, assuming his phone has been charging.
Do we have any, because usually even here where baseball is a mess and people are bored with the team and the ownership, opening day, you'll still get a decent crowd. The next day, you might be down to 800.
Correct.
But opening day, you might get a decent crowd. And then here's what I don't know. Are we doing these kinds of deals like the Brugger's deal back in the Golden Gopher days, where if you went in and get like a half a dozen bagels, they'd hand you a dozen free tickets to the Gopher Penn State game? Do we have those kinds of, just to get people in the seats for the opener?
We do.
Are we doing that same kind of thing with the Twins so that at least we can say on opening day there's a decent crowd?
I do know because I followed on Twitter, and I'm actually pulling up. It looks like they're done selling tickets on twinsbaseball.com. I was just curious to see if you could still buy tickets if you wanted to get in. I do know that they were calling people that they have on their list, basically offering discounts on home opener tickets within the last 72 hours.
Yeah.
So they're doing a full court press to try to get more people in. But I don't know, and to answer your first question, given that I have really no interest in attending really any of the games, but certainly the ones right now when it's 12 degrees and rainy, I haven't really pursued those promotions. So I don't know, to answer your question. Others may have answers.
I'm going to guess. Well, I'll wait for Lavelle because he might know, although he might inflate the number because Lavelle can't help himself.
He's still a ball guy at heart.
He tries to say, no, I'm critical and I'm rising above it. But deep down, he's invested in a day like this. This is the great contradiction of the ball guys who on the one hand will say, yeah, there's a lot of reasons to be critical of ownership and so forth. But then they get to the actual season. It's like, yeah, but I got to be there and you got to get into it. I mean, I want people to get into it. And so then you have this sort of mixed message that is continually sent, even, I would say, in the ball guy community. And, I got a text yesterday from somebody saying, because responding to a text that turned out to be sarcastic, although I didn't know it at the time, basically saying, well, 6 o'clock and you haven't even mentioned the Twins' victory. He meant it sarcastically, like he didn't expect that I would. I took him literally. So then I went off on the reason why. Basically, we gave it exactly as much weight as it deserved. And then, and that started the debate going on how much are we supposed to talk about it? Is it okay to talk about the Twins? How much Twins conversation is fair? And look, we're going to mix and match. And I said this when, we had Gleeman in studio the other day. And we talked some Twins, but we talked other baseball issues as well and some other things. And I said, well, the truth of the matter is we bring Gleeman on because he's a good guest. That really has more to do with it than the subject matter.
Yes.
Now, obviously, you have to go with his specialty to an extent, which is that. But that's, kind of more of the bit of it. So we'll see. Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line is open at 64686.
Gleeman is good audio.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Gleeman on anything.
On anything. And Lavelle, like I said, he'll play it both ways. But somebody said, okay, I understand your rant again. But is it okay for me to be as sick of the rant as I am what Twins ownership is doing? And I said, yes. That's the irony here, though, I would argue. Because if you want to say that the anti-Pollad rants are getting old, I would say they're exactly as old as the rants continually offered ripping Twins fans for ripping the Pollads. That's predictable, too. That's obvious, too. So I will cease and desist if they will cease and desist, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's very unlikely. This stuff is all getting repeated over and over again, but there's nothing original anymore, I don't think, about, well, yeah. There go Twins fans again, not happy, blaming Pohlad for the power failure, blaming Pohlad for Iran, blaming the Pohlads for everything. Is that not also rather predictable? It's true, but so is the fact that this organization has been run into the ground by this family. Maybe more so now than it ever has been. And if there's a rebirth, we'll give them credit for it. Believe me, it'll happen.
I hope for the fans they get it.
I do too, because it is still Major League Baseball.
That's what I feel worse for, as we talk about on Enough Said. The people that still go today, because it's baseball, it's the Twins, it's habit, it's what they've always done. Maybe they've done it with different generations, and they're getting very little payoff just in general from their club.
Let me ask you this. If you're a person who, under duress, bought a seat, or another family member wanted to go, and so you said, all right, I'll go with you because you want to go, and you get word about the power failure, and you start thinking, oh, man, we may have a way out of this thing. There may be no game. Are you happy or devastated that apparently the power has been restored and there will be baseball? I'm not sure.
I think it depends, because some people you've got to take work off.
Love it. Yeah,
you've got to get accommodations made.
I'm guessing some people would be relieved. I didn't really want to go. Why would I bother to go?
On a day like this?
On a day like this.
Cold, rainy.
It's, what are we at, like upper 30s? 31?
Yeah.
Is that the current temperature?
Let me pull up the National Weather Service, 39.
Oh, then this on my screen, this must be, it says currently 31, low 21, high of 37. Well, whatever the case may be, this is not baseball weather. We know this can happen in Minnesota when you start this early, unfortunately. But, we were reminded by Gleeman, you can't really call it because we don't have the buffer day. Usually you have a game scheduled, and then you have an off day after in case the first day the weather is awful. But we don't have that in this situation. We've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday games, correct?
We do, and that goes right into Monday.
Who are we playing? I don't even know.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
I like how I'm on twins.com right now, whatever their website is. They've got the schedule, and then they've obviously got today. It says 3:10, and then underneath it says delayed start, power.
Yeah.
Has that ever been said before? That's pretty funny. Delayed start, power.
You like that?
That's just funny.
Yeah.
It just, like you said.
Well, I don't think it's it's got to have happened before in Major League Baseball.
I'm sure it has, but
you like the way they put it.
It's just funny that's the correct reason.
Yeah.
And apparently all up and down the North Loop right now, there's some power outages that they're working on. And
612 guy, here's an example. This bit has been run into the ground. I'll say respectfully to 612 guy, this isn't a bit. The irony of it is, the only reason, if you want to call it a bit, that it exists is how tiresome the Twins' approach has become. That's what's been run into the ground. And if you make the mistake of being bothered by the reaction to it being repeated too often and run into the ground, you're letting the Pohlads win. That's the point. That's who you should be bored with, running something into the ground. This is just, we're reacting in real time because that's the landscape. We didn't make it happen. We didn't ask it to happen. We didn't beg it to happen. But there it is. That's pretty much the way I think you should look at it. There apparently the $2 beer signs are everywhere, according to Gleeman. I saw he sent out a tweet earlier.
Yes, and I just saw a table full of $2 beers on Fox 9 here. I'm watching the pregame to the pregame to the pregame show. People are taking advantage of that.
But I don't want to be the Puritan here. I don't want to be, the school marm. I don't want to be the hall monitor, but I worry about that too. I mean, isn't that going to encourage people imbibing more than they should?
Maybe today. I wouldn't worry about it the rest of the time.
You don't think so?
No. Today's a different day.
What are you talking about? $2 beers any day. People are they're gonna go crazy over.
They might,
especially if they think there's nothing else to see.
Well, there might be that. I just don't know how many people are going to be going on
just for that
day-to-day basis.
Okay.
But especially here early.
Yeah. I grew up on bad Cubs teams, and opening day, Wrigley Field, they could have 35,000 people, and the next day, I'm being serious, there could be 2,300.
Yeah.
Especially if it was a day like this, and that could also happen in Chicago in April. You had your own, you could have, similarly, you could have pretty much your own section 2300. Now, here's our first, I didn't see this one coming. A lot of power jokes, obviously, right?
Yeah.
We've risen above some of them, but not all of them.
And we will continue to not.
This one I didn't see coming. Twins lacking power? You mean Joe Mauer is back? First ballot Hall of Famer.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good right there.
Man. But I think it's actually well played. I wasn't prepared for that one, were you?
No, and we probably should have been. But maybe the first ballot Hall of Famer thing, maybe we've been bought off by that.
You might be right. Uh, 612 guy writes, I'm going to one game this year, and it is only because my kid is singing the seventh inning stretch song. Beyond that, there's no reason for me to go to a game. Could be his big break, or hers, seventh inning stretch song.
That'll be exciting.
Could be massive is what it could be. And what day did you tell me you're throwing out the first pitch?
Not me.
Oh.
I'm not throwing out the first pitch.
Oh,
No.
I thought that was you.
No, we were talking with Fallon about it from KWB.
That's right. She apparently has thrown out the first pitch 100 times.
She's basically Pablo Lopez.
Very close, except her arm is
intact,
held together.
Intact at the moment, yeah.
By the way, Dr. Danzino, here's the schedule for today. Here's the uglydeck.com schedule officially today. Next segment, Lavelle will file a live report from Target Field, from the belly of the beast. In addition, we'll check in with our old buddy Richard Pitino. For me, I assume we should catch up on his first season at Xavier, which I don't think was everything he hoped it was going to be. But I'm actually more interested in a scouting report. Just what he thinks, sizing up the Final Four, men's side. Women's side, by the way, the semis are tonight, right?
They are, right here on the Fan after Wolves Sixers.
And I am fascinated with those. You want to talk about heavyweight? It's too top heavy, one could say, on the women's side right now, right? But those are four heavyweight teams. Are you sticking with your UCLA pick? Or are you wavering at all?
It's 55-45.
So UCLA plays Texas?
They play Texas in the late game.
In the late game. And the early is South Carolina against UConn.
The two preeminent programs of the last decade in women's basketball.
Who you got in both those games?
I have UConn.
You do have UConn.
I have UCLA getting revenge on Texas. Their only loss this year was Texas in Vegas early in the season.
Yeah.
I have UCLA winning that game, even though technically they're not favored, I learned today. And then
UCLA is not favored?
They're not favored.
I thought I saw that. Yeah, Texas is favored by one.
Yeah,
right? Or 1.5 or something.
is what I've got here.
Yeah. And what's the spread on South Carolina, UConn?
Connecticut 6.5.
6.5.
Getting
because this
6.5.
is not supposed to be a classically dominant South Carolina team, right? She's had better teams. It's obviously still a good team.
That's the funny part.
That's the deal.
They're 35-3 and won every tournament game by double digits.
And they're viewed as a cute club.
Yeah. Good luck.
By South Carolina standards, which is amazing.
With local angle, Tessa Johnson, St. Michael Albertville
Good point.
is one of their best players.
Richard Pitino on the men's side of it, those semifinal games, of course, are on Saturday with the national championship on Monday.
I wonder if, I don't know, I have no idea because I haven't talked to him about this, what his opinion, like what he thinks about when Danny Hurley's losing his mind.
Yeah.
Because he coached against UConn, obviously, this year.
Good point.
And I'm sure knows the Hurleys pretty well, and his dad's in the same league now. I'd love to hear his thoughts on Danny. I'm sure he thinks he's a maniac.
He's stuck. Yeah. Because I'm guessing he thinks he's a maniac, but then he's going to, he thinks this stuff through a lot. So I'm wondering, and I'm anticipating. In his mind, he goes, well, how far do I want to go in sort of questioning the behavior, given I'm me, nice career, but he's Danny Hurley,
right?
Borderline legend at this point as a coach. It's undeniable.
It is.
Right? So that's always the thing that can, well, not always, that's the thing that can sometimes get in the way.
But he's got a good way, especially with his dad, of complimenting and paying proper homage, but also ripping.
That's why he would be a very good, I've told him this a million times, he's bored with it, a very good radio talk show host. He would be an outstanding host of a program because he has mastered already that aren't. He wouldn't have to worry about listening to parents who are bitter and NIL money and all that.
None of that.
Well, he still has time to get to that later if it comes to it. In addition, 4:30, because somebody has asked, any chance we get a quick Dr. Dan's inbox today? The answer is yes. That is scheduled for 4:30 this afternoon. So
could use your letters.
There's time. Honestly, there are days when it writes itself, one would think. So try to be clever with it. Try not to go too obvious regarding the power failure.
Oh, go ahead.
But if you have to go obvious, go that way too. JG at KFAN.com. That's an hour from now, so you still have some time to do some composing. And then Ben Gessling is moved to 5:30 today. We're out at 6 for Timberwolves hoop action. We're back in action. This is the first of 2 back-to-backs in this last stretch of the season. Tonight we're playing Philly, in Philly. And I believe the Sixers have already announced that their big man, what's his name?
Joel Embiid.
Is out with illness, right? So do we have an update on Anthony Edwards?
Listed as questionable officially.
Because he was sidelined allegedly for both injury and illness last night, right, against the Detroit Pistons?
Yes.
So, in any case, we'll go via the flagship FM 100.3 to Philadelphia for Wolves Sixers. And there's obviously a lot to get to regarding the current condition of the Wolves, the current condition of the LA Lakers. Have we had an announcement on Luka's MRI? Because this could directly affect, obviously, your favorite basketball team, the Timberwolves. Has anything official or unofficial come across the wires yet regarding his hammy that he pulled? He was pulled from the game in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City beat the Lakers by 90.
Yep.
What do we know?
I went to Dave McMenamin's Twitter.
Yeah, it's a good place to go.
Because he covers the NBA, but really the Lakers for ESPN. He has no update on Luka.
Is that ominous in of itself?
I doubt it. I mean, it's still...
It's 1:30 there.
Yeah, it's 1:30, but it's LA time. You know, things move a little slower.
Yeah, all right.
The only thing he has recently from today is the language about how Luka, if he does miss the rest of the regular season, which he probably will, and maybe some of the playoffs, how he can appeal to get into the regular season awards bucket, because that's the whole thing now.
Should be the last thing on the list right now.
But that's what everybody's concerned about. Ant missed the game last night. What's the first thing everybody tweeted? Yeah. He's ineligible for postseason awards.
Yeah.
Luka, same thing.
He's got to play. He's got still the right number of games if he keeps playing, but he didn't play enough minutes in one of those games.
And with Luka, he can apparently appeal, if he'd like, the 2 that he missed when his child was born.
Oh, my God.
And then that goes to some hearing or something.
I see.
I just kind of scanned it, so don't ask me any follow-ups.
You know, what the hopeful side on Luka is he pulled a hammy earlier this season and only missed 4 games. And that's what the optimists are trying to hold on to, that this doesn't have to be the sort of Wagnerian opera recovery period. Now, what we don't know is whether this is a more serious pull. Because hammies can be very problematic. We learned that from... Didn't Cat miss like 4 years with a hammy? Or no, that was a calf.
Oh, yeah, the calf.
Was it a calf? What was it?
Yeah, he had a couple.
He had a couple different ones, yeah.
Yeah, he had the meniscus the 1 year.
You're right.
Steph Curry, though, missed the entire series last year.
That's true.
With a hammy after game 1.
You are correct. So we'll keep an eye on that, because right now, 3-6 would be Lakers hosting your Timberwolves.
Just like last year.
Just like last year, exactly right. Let's get a break in, and let's prepare to chat with Twins apologist Lavelle Neal III, already locked and loaded at Target Field. Lavelle is next.
What?
Of the state of hockey. Minnesota Wild Hockey is back at Grand Casino Arena. Don't miss the speed, the hits, the roar of the crowd. Get your tickets now at wild.com/tickets.
Hate's a pretty strong word for me to use, but I know one thing. I want that damn act.
Let me offer an update regarding player availability tonight for your Wolves in Philly against the Sixers. Joel Embiid has been upgraded from out to probable. Now, the out was, I think, announced yesterday on the basis of illness. So he must have gotten a lot better. Maybe a little extra Pepto-Bismol did it. Who knows? But he is now listed as probable for tonight's game. Wolves in Philly probably would like to get a victory at some point. Edwards is still listed as questionable with whatever the illness is that he is dealing with. Speaking of illnesses, Lavelle Neal III has been very generous and open about some of the illnesses and afflictions that he has dealt with over the years, sometimes commode-related. And he joins us now via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. How is the digestive tract these days? Lavelle, good?
So far, so good. We'll see. Now that we're probably going to be eating more out of the cafeteria up here on Preslow.
That's what I'm worried about.
Because it's all brats and burgers, but that could take its toll over the course of the season. But we'll see.
But weren't you in on I know that the Twins like to try to buy all you guys off by giving the feed bag spread, the new foods, the new sandwiches. I think you went right down the line there. Did you show proper discipline, or was your gut all screwed up from that? All that overeating?
No, I was listening to Jason DeRusha talk about it. The thing about these tasting events is that if you want to get a sample of everything, you've got to take like one or two bites and then toss the rest of it in the trash. And you feel kind of creepy doing that, wasting good food. But
I'm glad you went to the original source on that.
To get around as much as possible, you've got to take that approch. So
nothing else left to be said.
I did that that was Tuesday.
Yeah.
When that happened.
Uh-huh.
And it was enjoyable. The meatless hot dog wasn't my jam. It wasn't. It tastes like something that had no meat in it.
Yeah.
But the macaroni and cheese was great. The double smash burger was great. The Mediterranean bowl was really good. So, that was a long day because I did that around midday. Then I went over to DHS Field for the Saints home opener, which ended up being a 19-3 edging to the Worcester Woo Sox, in which Worcester scored 8 in the first inning, and 10 in the sixth.
Man, it's a strange game. 19-3 was the final?
It was.
Wow.
Yeah, the Saints set a AAA record by walking 20 batters.
20? Man,
we know it's not.
I didn't think that was possible anymore, the way people are free swinging. Let me ask you this. The power has been restored, as I understand it, at Target Field, and game time is now scheduled for a little past 4 o'clock. Is that your information?
That's correct. I believe 4:05 or 4:10 is going to be the new first pitch. And we actually had some major breaking news here a few minutes ago that led to a huge roar of approval by the audience because of the power outage. All the scanners and devices around the stadium weren't working. People could not enter the stadium, have ticket scan or whatever. Point of sale was out of order, so you couldn't buy anything at concessions. So you couldn't really get involved in those $2. So they just put it on the Jumbotron a few minutes ago. Due to the downtown Minneapolis power outage, we are extending the $2 beer and happy hour snacks through the end of the second inning.
Very generous.
And that was met with applause and cheers from the crowd. So that's a little nod for people who had to stand in line and wait for the power to come back on so they can enter the stadium and spend their money.
Are we projecting the crowd size today? What do we expect? Do we know?
They're hoping for 30,000. I'm not sure if they're going to get there. I'm not sitting in the press box right now. I'm in the workroom, so I can't see what's going on in terms of entry because, as I pointed out, people were standing outside for a while. Now they're all trying to get into the stadium, so I don't know how it's filling up. But there were people sitting in like the last rows of the second deck in the outfield. So there are people. There are going to be some people there. I don't know if they're going to be completely full.
No,
but there's going to be some people there.
Yeah, I think whatever chance they might have had of that goes away with just the conditions. I would be surprised if they do, unless they just start waving people in, because it's pretty miserable right now. What do we say it was? 37, 38 degrees?
39 according to the National Weather Service.
And I'm assuming it's not going to be rising temperatures the rest of the afternoon into the early evening. You're now starting an hour later, right, than you originally intended. It's miserable. It's bad. That has nothing to do with the state of the ownership of the team. It's just they're not real good baseball conditions. And look, those of us who've grown up with baseball in the Midwest, this is not new. this time of year, but it's not fun. It really isn't. The hardcores hang. I'm assuming tomorrow, though, although I haven't seen the forecast for tomorrow. Is tomorrow supposed to be in the 40s or a little bit better? Because if it is, maybe
no, high of 39, rain
39
and
rain and snow. So tomorrow there could actually there might be like 80 people tomorrow, correct?
Yep, they could. I think they could bang the game tomorrow. To be honest with you, because that high's going to be in the. I can't remember what time the game is, but it's going to get colder during the game here. And opening day is one thing. A day when you're going to have like 8,000 in attendance, I could see them postponing the game. It's because I think the temperature is supposed to be around 50 or 52 degrees on Sunday.
Sunday's better.
I wouldn't be surprised that it ends up being a doubleheader, just because. When you start to play baseball in 35-degree weather, that's a little too cold. I went on the concourse today, about an hour and a half ago, and I was like, it is cold out here.
What did you just do to your phone?
Baseball watching experience, man.
What did you?
The Twins tried to bribe people with $20 tickets to get here for the home opener. If the temperature would have been like in the 60s, they had a shot of really casting in on that. But given the state of the franchise plus this crappy weather,
what did you just do?
Lavelle, take us off speaker.
What did you just do to your phone?
What do you mean?
Well, now it's better again. Did you put us on speaker?
I've always been on speaker.
You can't. Well, something changed like when you went on that filibuster. It was like dogs and cats living together.
Were you eating some of the happy hour snacks?
Is that
or
what
something?
it was?
No, I'm sitting in the media workroom right behind. I've been watching Corey Provost go in and out of his office here, out of his booth here. I'm sitting right in that area of the press box. So, no, I don't know what happened. I don't know how to explain it to you.
6:10 start for tomorrow. Is that what's scheduled, Guardsy?
Yes.
So that doesn't bode well. As you said, maybe it's more likely they just say, all right, we're just going to go with the doubleheader. Awful early doubleheader, but we got to get it in, right? A doubleheader on Sunday, because usually you got that buffer day, right? And in this case, there's no buffer day.
Yeah, the Twins got holds on that one too, because usually they have a buffer day for the home opener just to make sure that large gate, isn't affected. But they had to open the season at Baltimore and at Kansas City before coming here to open. And there's just not enough room to get all that unless you have an off day on a Saturday, which would be weird for Major League Baseball.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Do you have anything else to add, to give me on baseball? Because I'm already baseballed out.
No, it's funny. I was sitting in the press box talking about weird things that happened on opening day, and so I went back to 2018 when the Twins were playing the Mariners, and James Paxton was scheduled to start for the Mariners. He's down the left field line, listening to the anthem when they released the American Eagle, bald eagle, Challenger. The Challenger was supposed to fly to home plate. Challenger got disoriented, hung a right, and ended up trying to land on Paxton's shoulder. Funny that the American Eagle found like the one Canadian that was in the building that day. But he ended up slipping off. So it was funny because I was just looking up the story. Like 5 years later, I asked like Dave St. Peter, did you guys ever think about giving Challenger a second chance? St. Peter said, we can't find him. He's either retired and or deceased. We're not sure which one. So that was kind of the weirdest home opener that I've covered before going through this delay here. Jim Cott told me a story about one. He was supposed to open against the Yankees in '65, and there was flooding in Bloomington area, and one of the main bridges got closed. So they ended up pulling off into a high school parking lot, and a helicopter came and took turns picking up 2 or 3 guys at a time,
really
taking them to the Met to start the game.
That's pretty good. I hadn't heard that
was
story.
In 1965.
That's a pretty good story there too. Exactly. Because you've just written on this subject, I will ask you, why is LaTroy Hawkins the Twins bullpen coach?
Because they wanted to get him on the field in some capacity to work with the pitchers. He's got so much experience, having played 21 years for I think 11 different teams. And LaTroy was ready. He felt like he can make a difference in uniform, talking to guys. He's helped out before as like a special contributor to baseball operations department, which, was kind of just an open-ended role that allowed him to, sit in the front office meetings a little bit or go work with minor leaguers. But, he was ready to see if he can make an impact as a coach here. So, so far it's so good. I think it's a good balance between him and Pete Mackey. Mackey's kind of like the technical guy with mechanics, and that LaTroy's done it. As he said in the column, he's read from the book of Done Did It. And he can relay his experiences to some of those guys in the bullpen and the pitcher staff in general.
Well, it sounds like the last time we had Hawkins on, I think we talked a little bit about communicating with younger players, right, that are from basically another generation. And my recollection is he said, you can't, he said, I might have my opinions, but he said, you can't always do the back in my day thing. You have to find ways to connect. You may be bugged that it's harder to connect or you got to play nicer or whatever, but that to a certain extent, you have to find whatever the lever is, and you have to concede whatever you have to concede to get that communication going. Otherwise, you're really not doing your job. You can't just squawk about how the players are softer now, or you can't say anything to them, which I thought was a pretty astute observation on his part.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that both he and his buddy Eddie Guardado have taken a shot now at being the bullpen coach. I think LaTroy's a little more open to using statistics to kind of back up some of those things where Eddie just wants to rely on personal experience, But, LaTroy's been spotted in the clubhouse, with a computer in his hand, showing stuff to pitchers, it kind of helps him reinforce what he's trying to tell them. But I do believe that he understands there's got to be a way to connect with guys without just talking about, back in my day, I walked 10 miles to the ballpark every day, that kind of rings off hollow ears as you pointed out. And I think LaTroy probably has a way to connect. And I thought it was pretty cool too that, he's known just because of his work with USA Baseball. He's known like guys like Simeon Woods Richardson and Taj Bradley since they were teenagers. And so that definitely helps. And they enjoy his presence as well.
Do you know he's from Gary, Indiana?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
I know. The funny part is when I covered LaTroy, he wouldn't own up to that. He would say, I'm from the Chicago area.
What?
And I was like, dude, you could not claim Chicago area. I know Northwest Indiana is technically considered Chicagoland, but you could not say I'm from the Chicago area. You're from Gary.
That's disappointing. I've never
You have to own it. So he used to run with that for a while. I used to kind of tease him about it.
I have never run for my Gary, Indiana heritage. That's disappointing to hear. It's like it's convenient because everybody wants to disparage Gary and mock and ridicule and all that stuff. I continue to be very proud of my Gary, Indiana heritage, which, by the way, might come in handy once the Bears make the big move to Hammond, which I guess is still somewhat up in the air.
Well, the rumor is too, if the Bears end up staying in Arlington, that they may go after the White Sox.
Really? I hadn't heard that one.
Because Reinsdorf wants a new stadium.
Was there room for both in that? Oh, you're talking about Hammond.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Yeah, that's not a bad thought, really. South side of Chicago.
White Sox would maybe appealing to go to Hammond.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I meant.
That's By the way, Target Field, how old is Target Field now, Lavelle?
2010? Is that sound right?
So that's
right?
16 years old? Are we like that, yep. Are we going to need to make some improvements pretty soon? Is it getting outdated a little bit, or where are we on Target Field?
No, the Twins. The one thing the Twins have been good about is continuously updating and kind of renovating things to make it seem new and up to date and not run down. There's always been, they've contributed to a pot, and there's also there's a fund that the Stadium Authority has in place to help with those projects. Yeah, and so they've been able to add things every year. Like this past off season, they redid the Champions Cup. Now, of course, only a select few people are going to have access to it, but it looks fantastic. And like last year, they put a damn near a pontoon in right field. So they're always trying to come up with things. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I met one of the minority owners today.
Really? Which one?
George Hicks was walking through the press box. And I was like, why does that guy look familiar? And I started looking up some things and found his face. That is George Hicks. So, and then he left. And then I texted Dustin Morris and ridiculed him. You could at least introduce me to George. And then I got a text response. We're on our way back. And so me and Patrick Royce had a nice little conversation, get to know each other conversation with George Hicks, who is from Pipestone, Minnesota, and was neatly Royce because he's from nearby Fulda.
He is,
so that means he reads the Star Tribune, and he knows who we are. So
that's a start.
That's a start.
That's a start. There are a lot of people here. I'm trying to protect you from this, but there's a lot of texters who are questioning. They're questioning whether they can trust you on the Twins. They think that you have also been bought off a bit, or that even if you haven't, that once the season starts, you're not going to be able to help yourself from ripping fans. That's become the new vocation of ball guys, is ripping fans who want to rip the Polettes for everything. So can you pledge today on 100,000 Watt Radio on, what's the date today? Friday, April 3, that you're not going to resort to that kind of cheap savagery. You're going to let the fans feel however they feel, even if occasionally they get a little irrational and blame the Polettes for stuff they have no control over. Just let them live their lives, and you're going to stay above board. Can you pledge to that today, or do you think you'll get pulled back in by people in the organization who obviously are fomenting that? Yeah, rip the fans some more. There's too much ripping of the Polettes. See if you can mock the fans for ripping the Polettes for everything. I fear you're going to have good intentions, but that ultimately you're going to kind of get pulled back into that vortex.
Hold on. Hey, what's up, Molly? How you doing? Paul Mahler just walked by.
Mahler?
Yeah.
Give him the phone. Tell him. Can you grab him?
There's Tony Oliva. Tony O.
Well, how about?
No, he just walked right past me after waving at me. So,
okay, fine.
I'm going to say this. I think my gift to this community and to the readership has been able to educate them on baseball and try to enhance their enjoyment of the game.
What do you mean?
I think that includes helping people fan better. So I like to be the person that's considered someone who affects the readership on various levels. So okay. I don't want to give up on that. I want to continue to be able to articulate the game through printed word or typed word, while at the same time being able to help fans enhance their own experience.
That sounds like a no to the pledge. I think
the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, I think you've answered the question. So the answer is no to the pledge I asked you to take.
Your gift to the community?
Oh, that's the way ball guys think. He's distilling the essence of ball guydom.
Man, I'm going to have to start thinking about the gift I want to give to the community. I didn't know that was part of our deal, giving our gifts.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, you guys provide a gift to the community with your ability to
here we go.
handle department duties as well as current events. I think that's your gift to the community.
Oh, that was actually kind of nice.
Lavelle, Target Field powers out. Lavelle phone issues are never a doubt. All the more reasons us Twins fans deserve to pout. Wolves in 5. That's from Total Richard guy. Total.
That's cute.
Making it very. They
are now introducing the first pitch people. Corey, the two Coreys, the Dropkin and Thesey silver medal winning mixed doubles curling team is on the field.
Okay.
The Minnesota Frost players who are part of the women's hockey team gold medal, they're on the field. So the pageantry has started here at opening day at Target Field.
Who's throwing out the first pitch today? Do we know?
All of them are.
Oh, they all go. Okay, they're all doing it. And who's on the mound for us today? Who's on the hill?
Bailey Ober, all 6'9" and 260 pounds of him, facing Joe Boyle from the Rays, who is 6'8", 250, and can throw like near 100 miles an hour. So it's going to be some power on the mound and some height.
Do you think Ober is going to be able to crack 87 miles per hour on the fastball?
Well, technically, he averaged 89.8 his last outing against the Orioles. So, if he adds another mile an hour, he'll be right where he was averaging last year. So, we'll see. He's still trying to build up his endurance because he needed some time off during camp to work on his mechanics. But he seems like he's got his mechanics figured out. So hopefully the velocity will follow.
I have a height question for you. We talked about the story, that players, a bunch of players, lost the height they'd historically listed for them because they all had to be measured for the new ball strike system, right? And so the number of them ended up losing, in some cases, 2 to 3 inches from their listed height previously. What is the listed Lavelle Neal the third height, and what is your actual height?
On my driver's license, it says 5'9". So
is that accurate, or did you inflate that a little bit? Are you actually more like 5'7.5"?
It's more like 5'8.5". Okay. I just rounded up from the half to make it 5'9". I felt very comfortable doing that with my official record. So I can't just get away from the fact that I have a 29-inch inseam. So it is what it is.
I can confirm, Lavelle, if that's your listed height, because I'm about 5'9", 5'10".
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and Lavelle and I are pretty much the same height.
Oh.
I thought you towered over Lavelle.
No. No. I don't think I do.
Interesting. All right. Well, because I don't know do we know which twin cheated the most on his height when we had those measurements
done? This is the first time I've heard of this, Dan. I'm going to have to look into this and
it's a good story. Yeah.
That's very interesting to me. It's just interesting to me if they were doing that just to kind of game the system a little bit.
Well, they basically, it wasn't so much gaming because the system didn't come in till this year where you got the appeal, the computer appeal or laser, whatever the system is, the 2-dimensional thing. But they all had to be measured to make the system properly work when it comes to how to define a strike on each body. You see what I'm saying? So that's why they had everybody measured. Yeah, and apparently there were a lot of players who had been lying, fibbing about their height, and they didn't have a choice because the measuring was done for them.
Here's the thing with that, though. It wouldn't matter. Are they making them get in their batting stance? Because that's going to be the determining factor. Because if you remember, when Ricky Henderson first got into Major League Baseball, he crouched down so low that he made throwing him a strike impossible because his upper thighs were literally parallel to like the ground. He was in such a deep crouch that a pitch that should be a strike looked like it was coming across his nose.
Well, as I understand the system from the story we read, the story I saw was Wall Street Journal, and I did talk to Gleeman a little bit about this when he was in. The stance is not relevant because stances literally can change. They basically just go with height. They go with height, and it's a certain distance, between on the top and a certain distance on the bottom. And stances are not made relevant because they can't be replicated each time somebody might change it or alter it just slightly.
Wow. That's pretty deep. That's interesting. I'm going to read that story.
Could be a good column for you, yeah, for sure. All right, we got to go. So we're still saying think we're on time now? So 4:15, you said?
Where'd you go?
Okay, thank you, Lavelle.
Perfect. Just put him on hold. 4:05 is the pitch time.
4:05, I apologize, not 4:15. He was gone again. What changed all of a sudden? Lavelle Neal III. It's actually better that way. But what I want to tell people, testify to them, this isn't planned. It's not like we say, okay, the bid is you have to have all these phone misadventures, and we plan, okay, this is what we want you to do this time. None of it is rehearsed or choreographed. It just happens. That is the beauty of it. And there's never a rational explanation for almost any of them, I don't think. I think he tries to come up with
some.
When
they said I'm always on speaker, that doesn't sound right.
I know, that doesn't sound right.
But maybe he is.
That's very true. All right, top of the hour break. I don't want to get too far behind because Richard Pitino is going to be checking in on the hotline soon. Let's talk college basketball. Let's talk Final Four with the former Gopher men's basketball coach, Richard Pitino.